Hi, we're very excited to be here at Brands Hatch for round 1 of ThundersportGB. Today we'll be watching the young riders riding their way through the championship. Welcome to GP Racing Dream.
So the winter break is over. 2016 is finally here. Coming up in today's show, we have the pretty super teams coming up later, the RRV 450s, but first on the grid for the 9th season of existence for ThundersportGB, the Thundersport 500s. 57 riders packed themselves into qualifying for the Thundersport 500s for this weekend. There's a familiar face for you, slightly unfamiliar colour scheme though, Pete Bardell, and there's the champion from last year. We have 3 races, 2 from 3 effectively, because of the number of riders that have entered here this weekend. And here we go then, number 1 on pole position, last year's champion Joe Barton, alongside him Pete Bardell. Pete Bardell has changed his number for 2016. He's got the number 222, that gold and silver bike there, which will be nicknamed C3PO from here on in. Into Paddock Hill Bend then for the first time. A bit of a wobble there from Joe Barton as he makes his way through, and so he's had to give up first place for now. Pete Bardell, it looks like, might just have it, but up the inside again there for Joe Barton. A good start also this weekend, certainly in qualifying from 108. James Butcher, son of John, who was the runner-up in the very first season of Thundersport 500s with ThundersportGB, as they all now make their way down into Graham Hill Bend. As you can see here from the weather conditions, it's been a bit damp over the weekend here for the first round at Brands Hatch. Not for the first time, just got a glimpse there of Lewis Osler, number 82, a regular in this paddock. There is Ben Coyle, a race winner on plenty of occasions last year. Unfortunately, injury prevented him from getting himself the championship. Now on board with the champion from last year, then HB Racing Joe Barton. There is a good shot there of number 222, Pete Bardell, who's going to move up the inside, and Ben Coyle's coming through from third into first, perhaps no, just on the brakes there. He has to settle back into third, and the top 4 here are already trying to break away. Just in fourth there with the orange vest on is James Butcher, 108. Now, not quite sure why James, who's now going around the outside of Ben Coyle into Druids, has got an orange vest on, because he's been racing in this championship for a few years now, and I'm sure he's got enough signatures to get rid of that orange vest. Maybe he's just trying to give the rest of the riders a false sense of security there, but either way, he's easy to spot there in third place. Bardell leads, number 222, from the defending champion Joe Barton. It's then Butcher in third, and Ben Coyle now in fourth place as they make their way around Clearways Corner and then onto Clark Curve, before making their way back onto the start-finish straight to complete another lap here of this Brands Hatch Indy circuit. A bit of a look over then from Joe Barton, who slots back into second place, seemingly happy to allow Pete Bardell to lead here. Into turn 1 again we go. As usual, same points apply as every season. The top 15 will score points, 25 for the win, 20 for second, 16 for third. And at the moment, Joe Barton, who was so dominant in last year's championship, he knows how to collect the points unoften. To see Joe Barton off the circuit, he's very, very consistent indeed. And I should just point out, we've never ever had a champion who's defended his crown successfully in the Thundersport 500s before, so maybe this could be a first. He'll certainly hope so. A bit of interesting games going on and tactics at the front here between Bardell and Barton. At the moment it is Joe Barton that's in second place. Ben Coyle now closing up, getting into the slipstream. They're just dropping James Butcher for now, but he remains in fourth place. They all pull out of each other's slipstream, and Ben Coyle's got the inside line, but he can't quite outbrake them. So Barton goes into the lead now, ahead of Pete Bardell. Now further back, we're on board with 321, Ryan Vickers, an ex-super team rider who's just going up the inside there. I think that's Cole Mooney, who is a regular in the Senior Cup for ThundersportGB, and he'll be looking to win that this year because there's no Rob Morby. Rob Morby, who's won it for the last 2 seasons, not racing in the Thundersport 500s this year, so there's a little door opening there for 1 or 2 of the seniors. You have to be over the age of 40 to classify as a senior, and as I've said before in commentary, there are 1 or 2 ringers around in this paddock. At the front of the race outright though, it is the defending champion, Joe Barton, number 1, that has this lead over C3PEO there, number 222 with the learner sticker just underneath the rear tail unit. Further back there is Cole Mooney, number 101 in the seniors. He's just up ahead there of number 57, that's Chris Poncia from Attleborough. Too far away from myself there, and you can certainly tell when you have a little word with him. He's got the Norfolk tones flowing well. It's Barton that leads from Bardell and Ben Coyle. The top 3 now are racing alone. James Butcher has just fallen away from this pack. Nonetheless, some important points on offer here for Butcher. He does live locally. I'm not sure whether he's going to be contesting the whole championship as yet. It would be lovely for him if he could, because I think that he's definitely capable of finishing in the top 3 of the championship overall, but we will see, won't we? Here we are now on board with Joe Barton. You can see there the Dunlop tyres and the 2 riders just tucked up behind him. There is Pete Bardell, Ben Coyle looking to break away, just coming up to put a lap on one of the tail enders now here in this first of 3 races for the Thundersport 500s. Now, as I mentioned before, it's 2 from 3, so not all of the riders will compete in every race. So just in case you're thinking, oh, well, where's he gone in the next race? It may well be because they can only race 2 from 3. Further back there is number 121, Josh Leaning from Scunthorpe, the Leaning brothers racing here once more. You just saw Will there a couple of places further back. Perhaps Brands Hatch not their favourite neck of the woods when it comes to championship racing, but we'll see them tussling for victories later on. It has been said on many occasions before in all forms of motorsport that you cannot win the championship in the first round, but you can certainly go some way to losing it if you have a shocker. I always like to consider the first round of championships as a bit of a bonus, really. If you can come away unscathed with a nice chunk of points, then it's a bonus for your collection throughout the season. Of course, Donington Park is up next. That's the 2nd round of the championship, and I know that there's some nice offers on the gate as well if you're thinking about going over there on the day. £10 on the gate to watch a lot of racing, and I tell you, there is a lot of racing packed into those days. You will not be able to go anywhere else and find more competitive and better value for your money than that one. That is on the weekend of the 26th, 27th, 28th of March. So that's Easter weekend. So yeah, get yourself over to Donington Park, £10 on the gate, lovely stuff. Here we are then, well, the leaders are now filtering their way through some more traffic as we look back, and that really did work out rather well for Joe Barton, number 1. That's Ben Coyle just up behind him, number 14, and Ben has finally managed to get his way through that traffic himself now as well. But it's still Bardell that leads. Joe Barton there in 2nd place, Ben Coyle in 3rd, and that's a really nasty crash there. And of all the places to do it, you don't want to do it on the start-finish straight. Luckily, he rolls over to the other side. That was number 41, Craig Cameron, and that could have been really nasty. Fortunately for him, he sort of naturally rolled over towards the grass there on the left and to safety. It is the last lap, by the way, so last lap of the race, and nice to see that he's up and he's away. This is Bardell then. Looks like it could be 25 points for Pete Bardell. There's Dave Grace, who's having a good weekend so far. There's Lewis Osler, number 82, just coming up on Chris Cooper. Now then, on board with Joe Barton. This is the battle for 2nd, remember. That's Ben Coyle, number 14, just tucked up behind him. Just a few corners left. That's Lara Small, they're just going past there, number 54, rider from Derby. She's contesting in her 2nd full season of racing. Oh, and that's worked out rather well there for Ben Coyle, I think, as they make their way through the traffic, and Ben Coyle has got the advantage over Barton. Anyway, it's going to be 2-2-2. Peter Bardell to win the first race here on TV Day, and he's absolutely delighted with that. The usual Tourette's celebration at the end there from Pete, and Ben Coyle does claim 2nd place ahead of Joe Barton. James Butcher a solid 4th to open his account for 2016. Dave Grace, all right, Midoc, in 5th place, and Dean Armstrong in 6th. There's the top 3 then: Pete Bardell, Ben Coyle and Joe Barton. Further back in the seniors, it's Cole Mooney from Mark Leaning and Chris Satchwell. And in the freshmen, Anthony Seisman, the winner from Robert Carver and Thomas Hudson.
Pete Bardell, what an absolutely fantastic race. But in the end, you pulled away while they had a fight. You had a great day yesterday in the wet, I have to say, and really showed the rest of the field how to do it. But how are you feeling today with that?
It's just great to get out with some sunshine and have a proper race. Yesterday was just boring, you know, and that was good. I think I was lucky with how I passed the back markers. I think Ben and Joe got held up a bit, so I was a bit lucky there, but yeah, can't complain.
I thought it was fantastic yesterday what you did, because they were really tricky conditions, but today it was also awkward because you obviously had Ben and Joe and they were around you like bees, weren't they?
Yeah, we had a good race. It's nice to have a tussle. That's what we come racing for, to have a nice close one. So yeah, loved it.
You got anybody to thank, Pete?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Lou, my wife, for letting me do this, my little boy Finn, Sammy for wrapping my bike with me. We've gone a bit shiny this year, so cheers, dude, for helping out. Mick Marshall for loaning me the wets yesterday, and all the guys in the paddock, they're awesome.
Cole, what a great start to the season. You had a great day yesterday in all those conditions, and today you've gone and done it again.
Yeah, the conditions miles better today. Yesterday was bloody awful. It was terrible yesterday, just riding around, just staying on board was the secret. I didn't go fast, I just stayed on board, got me the points yesterday, so we've done well today, good start. Hopefully we'll do it again this afternoon. Brilliant.
Too early to think about the championship, but anyone to thank?
Yeah, well too early to think about the championship. I'd like to thank the marshals from yesterday, because we had an incident where there was oil and petrol on the circuit, and they just did a fabulous job of cleaning it. Got us back out straight away. Freezing, snowing, and they stayed out there all day, did a fantastic job. Credit to them and all the Thundersport crew. I'd like to thank Mark Owens, helps me. He's helped me all weekend, and there's John and Ian McGee have come down this week supporting me, been brilliant.
Anthony, well, you had a good day yesterday, and obviously this is a new class, the 500 freshmen, but you must be chuffed to bits with this.
Yeah, I didn't do as well as I did in the wet yesterday, but I'm going to try and push harder on the next race and try and get a better position, but I'm happy with the win on the freshmen's.
Have you got some people to thank, help you along?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my mum. This is me for mum, anyway, Mother's Day. Cairns, my dad, Ben Quill Racing as well, and all their family. And my sisters, Paige and Lily.
Join us again after the break, where we'll bring you action from the RST Aprilia Challenge. Race 1 for the RST Aprilia Challenge, the 450 GPs, the first race on the grid. Just in case you're wondering about the lovely young ladies with us here for this season, that's Kirsty and Sarah. Thanks to them, we'll be seeing them all over the country this year. There's Will Keynes, we just saw, number 7, Will Hodgson, a regular, and there is Keelan Irwin, number 69, and number 54 also I just got a quick glimpse of. It was Sam Cox just in the background, in fact. Further there up the front, number 94, Ross Simpson, who's kindly decided in the winter that he would change his race number just for extra confusion. In the background there you can see a few other machines. The Super Teens are also out, but we'll bring you highlights of how they got on a little bit later on. We're going to focus for now on the Aprilia RRV 450s. Down into Paddock Hill and up towards Druid. Will Keynes there with a lovely bright orange and black helmet. Looks like he might just have the advantage going into Druids. A tight line there from Sam Cox though, and he looked like he's on song. Of course, Sam Cox came back into this class, number 54, middle part of last year, and was so close to getting that race victory. Didn't quite happen for him. You see there, just a bit further back, that is one of our new Super Team bikes. That's an Aprilia RRV 450R, which is basically half the power as a normal 450. We'll get into that a little bit later on. For now, we will focus, though, on the 450s themselves. There's Keelan Irwin, rider from Donegal on the Scott Racing Motorcycles Aprilia, green helmet, quite easy to spot, and there is your race leader, number 7, Will Keynes from Shirley on the Fire System Services Aprilia. On board now with Will Hodgson, sponsored by Ron Hodgson Cars, which is effectively his dad, and going up the inside of him there is Danny Booth, number 64. Up towards Druids we go. You can see damp patches here at Brands Hatch, and that's a lovely move there from Danny Booth. 2 in 1 for him in 2 corners, so he's absolutely flying through the pack. Danny Booth, another race winner from last year. Then Keelan Irwin, who definitely has come on quite a lot compared to this time last year. Just joining the pack there, you can see the JDF colours on the side of that Aprilia RRV 450. That is number 94, Ross Simpson. a former super teen, although when you see him standing up, you'd be hard to believe that because he is absolutely ginormous. He has had his feet in growing sacks over the winter. He's absolutely enormous, so tall, but still quite nimble, and it's easy to get tucked in on these Aprilia RRV 450s. Of course, still brought to you by In Competition, Ian and Myra Newton and Jimmy, etc., who all help out. There's a lot more than that as well. 450s always usually provide us with some decent action. Hard to put your finger on who really was the favourite coming into this season. Of course, last year's Aprilia RRV 450 champion Sam Wilford has moved on, so there is an opening here. Will Hodgson was always present and has been for a number of years now. Sam Cox has got to be up there, but Will Keynes leads at the moment and looks like he's going to be a threat throughout most of the season. 58 there, just popped up behind number 6. 58 is Tristan Finocchiaro. Number 6 is Casey Wyatt from Beckenham on the Team Edge Racing RST Racing. Now, if that is the Casey Wyatt who I think it is, that is Casey who raced in the Aprilia Super Team way back in the very first year in 2008. I'll have to double check on that with you. Here we go then, down into turn 1. That's a lovely overtaking manoeuvre. Slightly off camber at points as you tip down into Paddock Hill Bend, so you have to get it dead right, and despite it being damp, he's got the move made, but he drifted a little wide, and that's just opened the door up there, and Keelan Owen is back through on him. There is Keelan just up ahead, and now down into Graham Hill Bend. Graham Hill Bend, such an awkward corner to make an overtaking manoeuvre on. You have to be pretty much dead level with someone before getting on the brakes in order to pull the move off. If you do anything too late, it can be courtesy erased. Here we are on board with Will Hodgson now, just going up around clearways. Brilliant view this of what clearways is actually like. The undulations up and down on the power, then onto the start-finish straight here for Will, who's been in this class for some time, and now that is Ross Simpson, number 94. Now, is he aware of what's going on there? A lot of smoke pouring out of his JDF Aprilia 450, and no, he wasn't aware. As he tips into Surtees, he goes down, and he goes down heavy as well, and that gives you an idea as just to how quick you can be going down there. Luckily, he's up, and he's walking away, and he's probably saying some things that we wouldn't be able to air underneath that visor, but at least he's up and he's walking away. We just saw Danny Booth there going through. There's Keelan Owen, number 69, and then Will Hodgson. Will Keynes it is that still has the advantage though. So that was Sam Cox just going through your picture. Number 9 is Alex Taylor from Southwater, another of the Scott Racing Motorcycles riders for 2016. All around Druids we go. There's Will Keynes. He's just going through some traffic at the moment. Number 7. He has this advantage. While we're talking about potential favourites for the championship, we should just quickly point out and send our best regards over to Zach Corduroy, of course, numerous times a race winner last season. He was here yesterday racing, but broke both of his wrists, and he's out, and I would imagine will be out for a little bit of time. So we're sending you our best wishes, Zach, a speedy recovery, and hopefully we'll have you back on the podium here in the 450s. Very, very soon. We're on board there with Will Hodgson trying to chase down Keelan Owen once more. This is your race leader, number 7 then, Will Keynes from Shirley on the Fire System Services Aprilia. Up and down season for Will last year. He's always been there or thereabouts, but he's not quite had a break. He's been injured a few times himself last year, hobbling around on crutches on more than a few occasions, so he'd like to put a full season together, I'm sure. Up through Surtees we go, and look at all of this traffic here for Will Hodgson, who's just pretty much barging his way through one or two of the Super Team riders here. It's like, get out of my way! And trying to make up as much ground as possible. At the moment, Will is struggling if he wants to make it onto the podium. It is Will Keynes that has this lead, and it's, I suppose, in 450 terms, quite handsome. Just over 2 seconds now, back to Danny Booth. In terms of their lap times, it is a bit damp. They're lapping in the 52s at the moment. Lap record is a 50.3, set by James Folkard. There's Will Hodgson still trying to find his way through 1 or 2 bits of traffic as he just goes past Lawrence Edgley there. This is Danny Booth, just at the bottom of your screen, going through Surtees. Then Keelan Owen, looking like being a good start to the season for Keelan. He could be on for a podium here to start off the season. Now we're on with Will Hodgson then. He's trying to chase this group down. The problem for Will at the moment is that he's got some company as well that's closing up on him. Sam Cox is not million miles away. As we go past the last lap flag there, just got a quick glimpse of it on the right-hand side of the screen. There you can see Sam Cox, number 54, closing in on Will Hodgson. On that last lap, they were around about half a second between them. There's Will Kane's your race leader. It looks like it's going to be a good start for him, provided he doesn't run into any trouble. And then this is the battle for third. It's come down. Keelan Irwin, Will Hodgson and Sam Cox. Sam Cox there with the white, blue and orange leathers. On board now with Will as we exit Druids, head down towards Graham Hill Bend. This is the battle for the final place on the podium. Keelan Irwin at the moment. Don't look round, mate. You've got some serious company, although that wasn't the greatest of exits there from Will Hodgson as we enter Surtees there, and that shows the exit wasn't great, and he has not only lost out on chances of third, it doesn't look like he'll even get fourth. Will Keynes takes 25 points, a great win for him, a great start to the 2016 campaign, and it looks like being second for Danny Booth. Who's going to get third though? Oh, it's close. Third place goes to Keelan Irwin, fourth to Sam Cox, and it's in the end fifth for Will Hodgson, but great racing there for the final podium places. In sixth place was Alex Taylor, number 9.
Well, that's a good start to the season, isn't it? I mean, on TV day, to get your first win in the first race.
Yeah, I'm just excited to finally do it. It's been, obviously, last year I had a few bad rounds at Anglesey when I broke my leg, but now I finally feel like I'm back to full fitness and ready to start winning races, so yeah, really good.
Yeah, I mean, that's really funny when you get another year come round. It's a whole new outlook, isn't it? But you look well on it. Who have you got to thank?
Thank you. I thank Luke for doing my helmet. She sprays my lids. Massive thank you for my dad, family, friends for coming down, Scott Levers, families, friends. I also like to say I get well into soon to Zach. He's been in the hospital at the moment. He broke both his wrists, so get well soon, mate.
Yes, get well soon, Zach. Join us again after the break for highlights of the Aprilia Super Teens. Brands Hatch 2016 and the Aprilia Super Teen Challenge. They've just been out with the 450s, so here is a glimpse of the Aprilia Super Teens for this season. Now you'll see some regular Aprilia production motorcycles there that you might know and recognise from previous years, the 125cc production bikes, but now, new for this year, it was tested of course at Donington, the RRV 450R. Half the power of the normal 450s, an excellent idea, and you can hear one now. We're on board with Cade Verwey, number 77, just going up the inside there of number 55, Jack Scott, who's on one of the older Super Teen bikes. Now going on by, that's a bit close and personal, going into Druids, but this is what happened in that race. Of course, riders are eligible to race on those production 125s or the new 450R, which stands for restricted. You can get these bikes, and of course then after you've used them in the Super Teens in future years, you can of course get them de-restricted and use them as a 450. Under the circumstances of where two-stroke motorcycles seems to be going here and there, I don't think they could have come up with a better option. Between ThundersportGB and in competition, of course, Ian and Myron Newton, Sid and Dave and Bernie, brilliant ideas. On board here then with Max Lofthouse, Lofty Racing Aprilia 125. Max will be looking to get himself in the top 3 overall for this season. If you're wondering about the difference between the two bikes, well, last year Max Cook and Connor Tagg were racing at each other at Donington Park. You couldn't split them really. Connor Tagg just got the edge on most of the occasions. There's not a lot to split them here. As you can see, Cade Verwey there. The green backing should denote that it is a 450R. Of course, they are out there with the 450s as well. They started at separate times. There's Rhys Irwin, he just went through. He's leading overall at the moment. Number 66, Rhys Irwin, who I'm pleased to say has had a haircut over the winter. And I'm sure he'll be able to see an awful lot better now, and it's reflecting in his racing performances on the Scott motorcycles as he goes through there as the leader. Then up behind him, an epic battle was underway between the 3 other Super Team machines. On board here with Cade Verwey, who's just moved up a place there on Max Lofthouse, number 24. So this gives you a real idea as to the differences between the two bikes. They're pretty much equal all over. Down into Graham Hill Bend then. You can tell from the sound there that we were on board, of course, with a 125. That was Max Lofthouse, number 24, the 2-stroke. But this is the race leader then. number 66, younger brother of Keelan Owen, who you would have seen in the 450s earlier on the Scott Racing Motorcycles Aprilia RRV 450R. Again, I'll repeat that the R stands for restricted. Now, just coming up there on some traffic, that's 67, Jamie Le Mazire, and he's a newcomer for this season. You can see the orange bib on there, so he will improve throughout the year. Lawrence Edgley, that is, number 97. Lawrence is a bit naughty because he's supposed to have the green backing on his bike. I'm sure he'll get a telling off from Ian Newton for us picking that up. Don't pay attention at the moment to a few of those 450s that are popping through. We're focusing now on the super teams. We're on board here with Cade Verwey, and there is number 24, Max Lofthouse, who we were on board with a minute ago, just up behind. Good move there in the background. That's one of the 450s flying through to lap them. So again, try not to focus on those guys as we see them going through. It is Rhys Irwin that had the lead at this stage, and a good battle going on for second between Lawrence Edgley, Cade Verwey and Max Lofthouse. Cade Verwey, number 77, is the 450 we've been on board with. Max Lofthouse, number 24, is the 125 two-stroke that we have been on board with as they head down into turn one. Jack Scott, by the way, who almost got caught up down into Druids, or up into Druids a little while ago, is still inside the top 5. Number 55, Jack Scott. There he is, in fact, just going through your picture. Up ahead of number 50, Adi Behal, who's a newcomer for this season as well. Nice to see him out there. Number 8, Connor Thompson, we just got a quick glimpse of as well. We might as well go through the rest of the pack as well, as they all seem to be heading up into Druids. We had Jody Fieldhouse there, Matt Bauer, Harry Lay, Luke Verwey, Jake Clark, and here we see a decent battle. In fact, that looked really handsome, that lead earlier on in the race for Rhys Irwin, but not so. Lawrence Edgley barging his way through then. So we have two of the 450Rs really going at it now for the lead. Look at that, across the start-finish line here at Brands Hatch, and both Verwey and Irwin side by side. This is Jack Scott here on the last lap, number 55. Looks like he would be on for a top 5 or 6 finish, but he had a bit of company on the final laps as well. And this here is the change around. The checkered flag was out, and it was Rhys Irwin that managed to get it in the end, despite the later traction that he was gaining there from Lawrence Edgley. It was Rhys that picked up the win. The young Irish rider took it from Lawrence Edgley. Cade Verwey was in 3rd place ahead of Max Lofthouse, Jack Scott and Adi Behal. There's the top 3 then. Race winner in race 1, Rhys Irwin.
Rhys, first win. You must feel great. The first meeting of the year.
Yeah, it hasn't even sunk in yet because we've been sort of improving all weekend, and then just to get the win, because it's not a lot of Irish riders have ever won a Super Teen race, so I'm glad now that I'm one of the very few that have.
You're liking the new bike then, obviously?
Yeah, we've sort of improved on it all weekend, because the start it took me a while to change from 4-stroke to 2-stroke, but now I'm really liking it.
Who have you got to thank?
Everyone really, Mum, Dad, Keelan, Dad, Gary, Dad, Trevor, Huey Brake Lines, Thundersport, Dunlop, Aprilia, Ian Newton. Huge thanks to James Gallagher and Waze Barry. He's been helping me ever since I started racing. And then Trevor as well, because if it wasn't for him I wouldn't have a bike or even be here racing. So, and Motor Direct, Johnny Towers and RST.
Lawrence, so 2nd place, first meeting of the year. You must be made up.
Yeah.
I take it that Aprilia 450R is fantastic.
Yes, really good bike. I was in the 450s, but moved down to the 450/50, sort of better move for me, and it obviously is, because I'm doing better now. Struggled a bit in the rain yesterday, but managed to come back from 7th or 8th place on the grid. So yeah, really happy with that.
Brilliant. Have you got some people to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the Team Edge, my dad, Dave. Massive thanks to Kev for mechanic the bike. Casey, Johnny, Ali, thank you. I'd also like to thank Ian Newton for setting up the bike for me and changing it down to the 450/50, and thank Aprilia Thundersport. Thank you.
So Cade, I mean, you had a fantastic day yesterday, really, in tricky conditions, and I know you're a bit concerned about today. You weren't going to sure where you're going to be in the dry, but you must be pleased with this 3rd place.
I'm quite happy with that. It's just back runner came and pushed me wide on one of the corners and kind of separated me from the front 2. But I'm happy with the 3rd place.
You like the new Aprilia RRV 450R, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. It's really smooth, and it's just, I find it better, really.
Excellent. Very well done anyway.
Yeah, thanks.
Join us again after the break. Race 2 of 3 for the Thundersport 500s. The Crank Racing Thundersport 500s here, Brands Hatch, race 2 of 3 for this group. And as you can see here, C3PO number 222. Pete Bardell on the grid again, looking to make it 2 out of 2 here today. This is James Butcher, the same top 4 that you saw in race 1 out in this one. And what that means, of course, is race 3 that's coming up later. There is an opportunity for another race winner, because these guys here that are battling at the front won't be allowed to be entered into that race. Who will get the win here in race 2 though? One of these guys is going to be leading the championship by the end of this race, regardless of what happens in the race that's coming up later on. This is Joe Barton that leads their number 1, the defending champion, gets the whole shot into turn 1, a bit wide in there, was he? No, he's fine. It is Bardell that's in second place though, number 222. Then just tucked in behind them there in third, it looked like it might be Dean Armstrong, number 9. On board with Barton here on the HP Racing Honda. This series brought to you by Crank Racing for 2016. There's Bardell in second, number 222. Ben Coyle was in the top 3 earlier on, number 14. Look out for him. James Butcher, not sure if he's got off to a decent start again. He's number 108. Barton leads from Bardell, Coyle. Then it's Armstrong and Butcher. One of the Leaning brothers is up there as well. That's Cole Mooney, who won the Senior Cup race from earlier on. Just up behind him, 3-2-1, Ryan Vickers. Ryan was a super team with Thundersport a few years back. He's grown a bit since then and is entering his first full season there on that 500, number 321. I think as the season progresses, you're going to be seeing him getting closer and closer towards that podium. Barton it is that leads though, the championship winner last year, one of the first riders to clinch that crown. Pretty much can handle any machine that you put in front of him, but it was pleasing to know that he's going to come out and defend his crown. There is 121, that's Josh Leaning, who was just up ahead there of number 82 Lewis Osler, but Barton it is that still leads as they go down into Graham Hill Bend and head up towards Surtees now, with Bardell in hot pursuit and a smallest of gaps back to Ben Coyle, but I'm pretty sure that Ben will be able to close that gap down over the next few laps. The damp patches that we saw from race 1 seem to have disappeared here, so we're now on board with Barton. This is what he's very good at doing, leading at the front and keeping the pace up throughout as he goes past the start-finish line here. But here comes Bardell, who pulls out of the slipstream and goes up the inside into Paddock Hill Bend, but Barton's really late on the brakes, and that's brilliant onboard footage there as he goes back around the outside, closes the door on Bardell's nose and says, no you don't. Bardell's going to have another sniff though coming into Druids. It doesn't quite work out as a result of these two chipping each other up. Ben Coyle, you can see there, has just managed to eat into their lead a bit. A couple of tenths made up by number 14, Ben Coyle from Aintree on the Honda. Of course, a few race wins last year. Alton Park in particular, his home round last year, he was awesome. And here he is now closing up on them. Look at how much of a gap these three have built on the rest of the field though. James Butcher, Josh Leaning, Dave Grace, Lou Osler and Ryan Vickers have been left for dead here. Jodie Chalk is racing back with us, by the way. She just mentioned that. Jodie, an ex-super team runner, and then she moved on to a 600. Nice to have Jodie over with us here for this weekend, and she's fighting up inside the top 10 as well. But this is the battle we wanted here between these three. Is this what we're going to see for the championship in 2016 between Bardell, Coyle and Barton? You wouldn't bet against it. On board here with Bardell, looking back towards Ben Coyle there with the white helmet, number 14. But Barton, the defending champion, easy to spot him from this group. Of course, he has got the number 1 plate on. I do like it when champions sport the number 1 plate. It's obviously easy from a commentary point of view as much as anything else, but it's just easy to spot for anybody that comes along to the race circuits. It's Barton that leads from Bardell and Coyle as we head around clearways once more. Both of these guys now looking for a decent tow. Ben Coyle just pulling out to the left-hand side of Pete Bardell there, and now he'll get tucked up into the slipstream as they make their way onto the start-finish straight. There was number, I think that was 57, Chris Ponce here. We saw Lee Howard there as well. Good to have Lee out in the 500s for 2016. number 94. There was Joe Miller from Hull on the MTech Racing Honda as well. There's John O'Toole, number 27. Cole Mooney, one of our Senior Cup riders. In fact, he's leading the Seniors Cup Championship at the moment and leading in this race of the seniors. He's up ahead of Dave Moss. In the freshmen's further back, there's a good battle going on between Anthony Seesman, who won earlier on, and Glenn Stewart. But we'll obviously wait until the podium to find out who won that one. For now, the outright victory is going to be surely one of these three, you would think. Into Clearways we go. Number 1, Joe Barton leads from 222, Pete Bardell. Number 14 there, black and yellow machine, Ben Coyle. On board with Barton then, who leads. We're looking back at C3PO. The gold and silver machine of Pete Bardell, who's got some good slipstream there and goes up the inside into turn 1. Ben Coyle for now settles for third. Bit of smoke coming out of the rear end there of Ben Coyle's. Hopefully that won't be a problem for him. They're going to be coming up on some traffic shortly as well. Into Druids we go, and Joe Barton stands his Honda 500 on the brakes going into Druids so that he doesn't run into race leader Pete Bardell. Pete certainly being made to work for this one, and that's a great move from Joe Barton down into Graham Hill Bend. Not easy to get done, and here's the traffic. Shouldn't be a problem for Barton, and doesn't look like it's going to be a huge problem for Pete Bardella, but Ben Coyle has to go the long way round there, around Surtees. Let's see if that's cost him anything. Not really. He could just about make that time back up again. Around Clearways we go. Just dips down in the road surface there. Was there a few problems for Ben Coyle getting that into gear on the start-finish straight just then? There's Dave Grace, number 7, the white bike, really hanging off that. Two completely different riding styles there for Dave Grace and 82 Lewis Osler. There's Barton again. They've got some traffic in an awkward place. There's Josh leaning just up ahead of James Butcher. So Josh at the moment is on for 4th place if he can hold it there. Still Barton that leads from Bardell, and this is Ben Coyle in the 3rd place. Ben is having to work incredibly hard just to stay with this group at the moment. There's Dave Grace once more and Lewis Osler. All of these guys inside the top 8 overall. Chris Poncia then goes through ahead of Anthony Seesman. Anthony Seesman with the orange bib on, who at the moment has got this advantage in the freshmen's. But out front, it's Barton who's doing very well through the traffic there. He just goes past George Davies from Shirley, but he's going to have to go again the long way round there as they go round Clearways. On board here with Barton. Ben Coyle has lost a bit of time in the background there. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to fight for this win now, but here comes Bardell once more into turn 1 and takes the inside line and just drifts Joe out a little wide, but that then means Joe can get the cut back. They go down the hill and up towards Druids, and Barton's going to have another look up the inside here. Lovely stuff here from these two. It's clean, it's nice, but they're both looking for every advantage that they can possibly get. You've been able to see from the last couple of laps that Bardell has got so much drive going on to the start-finish straight, you might just fancy him to take this one, but Barton is a champion, and he's a champion for a reason. He's got excellent racecraft. What has he got up his sleeve here as we go into Surtees? One of these two surely is going to take the victory. Ben Coyle really has just dropped away now, and I'm just wondering whether he's waving the white flag in terms of going for the win and just thinking, you know what, I'll let these two scuffle. You never know, I might just pick up a point if it gets really messy, and it's got messy further back there for number 9. Dean Armstrong, who was up in the top 8, unfortunately has dropped out of this one. He just goes over to switch the bike off. He's up, he's safe, he's okay, but he's out of the race. Meanwhile, back at the front, into Paddock Hill Bend, Barton it is that leads on the HB Motorcycles machine. Then 222, Peter Bardell. These two know each other incredibly well. They raced with each other all through 2015. And Barton, of course, coming out on top overall, mainly due to the fact that everybody else just, there wasn't enough consistency from them. They were going into weekends and having good results and then throwing it away. Barton just kept himself on the saddle. At the moment, Bardell looks like he might leave this championship weekend with a lot of points, but it is only the first round. Let's see what happens. Ben Coyle, maybe a bit of rejuvenation going on there in 3rd place on that last lap. He's just pulled another couple of tenths on the leading duo, but he is running out of time. It is the last lap then. We begin here, and Joe Barton it is with that inside line. And he stands up Peter Bardell, and he's not able to come through. Still a bit of smoke coming from the rear end there of Ben Coyle's bike. I don't think it's going to be a problem now, though. Bit of traffic, that could prove critical. And there you just saw Barton closing the door on Bardell, and he's gained himself an extra 10th there. That could come in very handy at the end of this race. As we tip into Graham Hill Bend, there's no way that he can get past him here. Bardell needs to be a lot closer than this. If he's going to win this race, he's going to have to rely on this back marker, I think. What will Barton do? They're both probably going to go the same way past, are they? That's worked out well for Barton. Bardell really has had to go the long way round, and this will be a stretch now for him to get another 25 points. Barton's going to take this one unless he misses a gear between now and the finish line. Joe Barton, the defending champion, is back to his winning ways, and he takes the 25 points ahead there of Pete Bardell, and he points to the number 1 plate as if we didn't already know. Ben Coyle there with a solid third and 16 points, and it was James Butcher that did in the end get back into 4th place ahead of Josh Leaning, and Dave Grace starting the season off very nicely indeed with a 6th place finish. Top 3 there then, Joe Barton the winner from Peter Bardell and Ben Coyle. Now the old boys, the Seniors Cup, Colin Mooney, Dave Moss and Mick Marshall are your top 3, and in the freshmen, Glenn Stewart the winner from Anthony Seesman and George Williams.
Joe, last year's champion, and really quite a good start. Tricky yesterday, but back on track today.
Yeah, tricky yesterday. I had quite a big off in the second race, so a little bit sore today. It took me a while to find my feet today. First race, struggled a bit, a little bit unfair, a little bit, not quite how it should be. I struggled, but yeah, made up for it in this one, and I'm really happy with that. So it's nice to be back on track again, so yeah, I'm happy.
Well, yeah, it just looked fantastic as usual. Who do you want to thank, mate?
Big list of people to thank this year. So I'll start with HB Motorcycles, STG Performance, Classic Race Replicas, Carbide Tooling, floor to ceiling fitted furniture, and Rock Oil as well. I think that's everyone. And everyone that's come to support me, mum and dad, my girlfriend, Charlie, and all them out. Thank you very much.
Glenn, new class in the Thundersport 500s, and you've gone out and won it. First TV day of the year.
I was, yeah, I'm over the moon. I just wasn't expecting that at all. To be honest, I wasn't even sure if I was in the Freshman Cup at all, because I'd done a few races last year, but obviously I am. So when you said, oh, you got first place, I was like, oh, hold the bike, yeah, here you go. So, this is the first race I've finished this weekend. I've crashed twice and broke down yesterday, so yeah, quite happy with that and over the moon.
So it all came right in the end.
Just about, yeah.
Have you got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank my wife, my beautiful children for letting me come, and I want to thank Giles Day, Blackstone Racing, who I race with, and Alex Presley for always helping me out and just always being there, get me there, so yeah.
A really good race there from the 500s. Join us again after the break for the RST Aprilia Challenge. Welcome back to Brands Hatch. Hopefully there's not going to be too much of a reason to use those umbrellas, but still a bit grey here and a wet surface, you could argue. Will Hodgson there looking to go better than he did in race 1 earlier. He finished in 5th place. There is Ross Simpson, who unfortunately went out of the first race. He's got number 55 on his helmet, but number 94 on his bike. I can't quite work that out. There's the race winner from earlier, Will Keynes, number 7. Try not to focus on the super teens in the background for now. We'll have highlights of how they get on after the break from this one. For now, we'll concentrate on the 450s. A good start there, it looked like, from number 69, Keelan Irwin, and it is indeed as he comes through to try and take 2nd place. Is he being sat up there by Will Hodgson, though? But Will Keynes it will be that gets the advantage into Druids. Number 7, the race 1 winner, takes the lead ahead of Will Hodgson. We're on board with him now in 2nd place, just behind Will. There's a number of riders there, just up a touch behind him, one of them being Ross Simpson, number 94, into Graham Hill Bend. Look at the speed that Will Keynes took around Graham Hill Bend then is already looking to check out here as we get up towards Surtees. There in 3rd place is Danny Booth, number 69 in 4th is Keelan Irwin, and then in 5th it was 54, Sam Cox. Number 6 there, just up behind 58, that's Casey Wyatt behind Tristan Finocchiaro. And now onto the start-finish straight we go. And what a flying first lap that was from Will Keynes, number 7, who has the lead then ahead of Will Hodgson and Danny Booth. number 64. All of these guys had race wins in the past. Keelan Irwin's just up there in 4th place for now, but Will Gaines is looking as good here than I think I've ever seen him in his short career so far. Certainly towards the end of his super team days, he was showing signs of making serious improvement. Then moved on to the 450s, and like he said in his interview earlier on, didn't quite go his way last season. On board with Will Hodgson here, we might just see a front wheel in a minute. We've seen a whole bike, in fact. That is Danny Booth. It looked like he was going to be pulling that one off as they made their way into Surtees. So far this weekend, Will Hodgson, who traditionally doesn't mind a scrap out on circuit, has been beaten up a bit here. They just go over a bit of cement dust from some oil that's been left from circuit, perhaps from an earlier race. Will Hodgson bounces back, though, up the inside as they make their way into Paddock Hill Bend. And this is great news for Keelan Irwin there in 4th place. He's quite happy to sit with the front row seats and watch that one unfold. Oh, really hot into Druids there from Will Gaines, the race leader. Further back there is Ross Simpson trying to catch up with Sam Cox, who's up inside the top 5. Will Gaines was carrying some serious speed into Druids and carrying serious speed out of Graham Hill Bend there. A major moment for Keelan Irwin, number 69. Further up ahead here, these two are taking lumps out of each other. Will Hodgson, number 14, and Danny Booth. They're losing so much time on race leader Will Gaines just by doing this. Luckily for Keelan Irwin, who was just out of the seat a minute ago, that's helped him out a bit. But now he's got company because it's that Sam Cox who's coming up alongside him. We'll see in a moment. On board with Will Hodgson again as he gets planted by Danny Booth once more. They're landing blows here, and Will Gaines is more than happy with that. It is Sam Cox there, 54, who's closed up onto the tail of Keelan Irwin. Orange, white and blue leathers there for Sam Cox. Good to see him having a good start to the season. Further back we've got Ross Simpson, Casey Wyatt, Matty Rangeley, who's on the podium a fair few times last year, Connor Wheeler and Tristan Finocchiaro. At the moment that's your top 10. Here we see then Will Gaines, such a relaxed riding style, looks a different character at the start of 2016. Then Danny Booth, Will Hodgson and Keelan Irwin there has to sit up. He's having quite an eventful race there as Sam Cox goes underneath him around clearways. Look at that lead for Will Gaines as they head into turn 1. Danny Booth has definitely broken away from Will since getting past him and might just be able to close that gap down. I'm looking at the lap times here, and Will Gaines, despite the fact that it's still a little bit greasy out on circuit, in track time is certainly not high, they're only, well actually no, they're a bit off that lap record of James Folkard. That was a blistering lap record set by Folkard. Either way, Will Gaines at the moment is still lapping a good 2 or 3 tenths a lap quicker than Danny Booth in 2nd place. On board here with Will Hodgson, they're just coming up on some traffic there, and Will Hodgson, it almost sounded like the bike had stopped then. He's lost a bit of ground on Danny Booth up ahead of him there. This is the man in 3rd place you're on board with, Will Hodgson. Danny Booth then looking to try and get himself away and maybe close that gap down on Will Gaines. But now Will Hodgson's going to have to be careful because Sam Cox is closing on him. And that was a great move there from Sam Cox. Hello, he says as he just barges his way through up the inside into Paddock Hill Bend. Will Hodgson will try and snap back immediately though. Oh, there you just see closing the door. Sam Cox there, just in case you're wondering why he's got a Dutch flag knee slider on one side and a British flag on the other, is because his father is British, his mother is Dutch, just in case you wanted to know that piece of information. Number 7 there, Will Gaines, it is that leads. That's Jack Scott, one of the super team bikes, just being lapped, so forget about that for now. There's Danny Booth, then Keelan Irwin is bouncing back again. Oh no, that's Rhys Irwin, sorry. Rhys Irwin, who's about to be joined by his brother. They're all coming through lapping the super teams at the moment, so it's a bit confusing, but there's no denying who's winning. Up into 1st place here and flying away from the pack. Will Gaines has not been challenged at all in this race as yet, and looks like he's going about his business very smoothly indeed. Could be quite close in the championship though. Yesterday, different results as ever, Saturday and Sunday races for ThundersportGB. This is Will Hodgson now, and he's struggling. It doesn't look like he's going to make the top 3 here. In front of him, we've got one back marker, and then that's Jack Scott who's just going to get by on there. These are the battles for 2nd and 3rd then. Danny Booth in 2nd, Sam Cox in third. Sam Cox will definitely have a go. If he's got even half a chance here, Sam Cox will try and get himself into second place. Sam, a race winner yesterday here at Brands Hatch. Although we were faced with slightly different conditions. He won the race from Ross Simpson, the first race yesterday, the first race of the season in the wet here at Brands. So the tables, championship table at the end of today should prove rather interesting. Will Hodgson we're on board with here on the Ron Hodgson car specialist machine, just getting squeezed out there of fourth place by Keelan Irwin. Number 69, who's recovered well after that moment earlier on, around about here, around Graham Hill Bend we go. Still race leader there, Will Keynes, number 7. In second place should be number 64, Danny Booth. It is then 54, Sam Cox. This one will go down to the wire, although if these two start getting a bit dirty on circuit here and start taking lumps over each other, then that might just open the door to Keelan Irwin and Will Hodgson a bit further back, but not sure how that one's going to work out. Will Keynes it is, that looks like he's good for a Sunday double here on Mother's Day at Brands Hatch. We are on the last lap. He's got a bit of traffic just to deal with here. Cool. I'll tell you what, it's a good job the parents can't see all of this footage, because there would be more than a few grey hairs down on pit wall, or that's if there is any hair to go grey for one or two. As they now make their way down into Graham Hill Bend. Sam Cox had moved into second place, but Danny Booth snatches it back again. It'll go to the line, this one. This is the battle for second place. Will Keynes has got the win in his pocket, though. It's going to be the double on TV day here for Will. A fantastic start to the season for him, and he will head to Donington Park with loads of confidence. But who's going to get second between Danny Booth and Sam Cox? It looks like it's going to be Danny Booth. Keynes it is that wins the race outright, and in the background here, we're waiting for it. It's going to be Danny Booth, number 64, who takes second. Third for Sam Cox, and then Keelan Irwin just goes across the line there ahead of Will Hodgson in the race for fourth overall. So good battles for second, good battles for fourth, but Will Keynes home and dry, over 6 seconds his lead. Ross Simpson in the end finishing in 6th place. There's your top three then: Will Keynes, Danny Booth and Sam Cox. And here is the championship standings, a point between Will Keynes and Sam Cox going into the next round. Keelan Irwin in third, then Danny Booth, Ross Simpson and Matty Rangeley.
Sam, well, lovely to see you continually up here on the podium this weekend. It's just great to see you back doing what you do.
Thank you. It's been a fantastic weekend, considering where we were last year and just how we progressed, and I'd really like to thank Ian Newton for getting us back in the championship, and all my parents and that for support. This weekend couldn't have started better for the season, and I'm so proud of myself, and the support I've had all weekend is brilliant from all my friends and family, and I just really enjoyed it and happy to be back on the bike. And just like to say well done to all the lads who are out there we were competing against, because they're all doing a good job, and I'm really proud, and I can't wait till the next round at Donington.
Mr. Booth, now you've done very well again, haven't you? Unfortunately, we didn't get you on the podium on the first one because of a mix-up with your transponder, but that's still 2 seconds today, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm really happy with that after how yesterday went in the wet and stuff. Some good battles with Will and Sam. So.
Well, it's a good start to the season, and valuable points, isn't it? Because they make a big difference at the end of the season. So, I mean, you've got a bit to do to catch Will at the moment because he's on fire. But who do you want to thank, mate?
I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day to my mum. Can I thank Design Iteration, Longton Batteries, KJD Racing, my team, for being a good team. Wiz Knee Sliders, Shorrocks Motorcycles, my dad, Libby, everyone who's helped me. Cheers.
Well, what can I say? After last year, to come back and do what you've done, already at the first round, that is a fantastic start.
Yeah, let's hope I can keep it on for the rest of the season now. So, yeah, it was a great race. Just sort of watched my pitboard all the way through, just counting down the laps, and it ended up really well. Yeah, good.
And some people to thank, obviously.
Yeah, also I'd like to thank Luke for doing my helmets, Fire System Services, massive thanks to my dad, family and friends for coming down and supporting, Ian Newton, Ian Wilford for helping out with spares and all that stuff, Dunlop, and Thundersport, thank you.
We saw the first race for the Aprilia Super Teens earlier on. Let's get the highlights now for race 2. Rhys Irwin it was that was victorious earlier on the Aprilia RRV 450R. There he is, number 66, just ahead of Lawrence Edgley in a cracking race. Of course, once again, we ask you to try not to pay attention to the 450s that you've just seen. We're focusing on this group as they get away from the line. Can the 125 Aprilia Super Teens get on terms with the brand new 450R? We're on board with one now. Cade Verwey again, number 77. That's Lawrence Edgley, their number 97. Now Cade, who we're on board with here, picked up a victory yesterday, although he's about to get... Oh, he closes the door there on Lawrence Edgley going into Druids. Yeah, he got a victory yesterday, so in terms of the points, looking good. We'll get a glimpse of them after this highlights package. As it is then, it's a very good start there for Jack Scott, number 55 on the 125, on board with the XG Group Aprilia Cade Verwey there. He makes up a couple of spots immediately. That was a really nice move there on Jake Clark. He's just got past. He's got a really good start. Rhys Irwin is up there again, number 66. Not too hard to pick out the differences between the 450 and the 125 Aprilia. Funnily enough, on circuit, the 450s look like the bigger machine, but in terms of weight difference, the 450s are actually slightly lighter than the 125 productions. Here we are on board with Cade Verwey again, as he just puts a move there on Connor Thompson, who it seems changes his race number every single different round that we go to. I don't know if they picked the man up a kick. That was flying though, he's flying around the outside there. I'm guessing that they're just waiting for the one weekend that Connor has an absolute storm, and then they'll stick with that. There is Cade Verwey there, number 77, just being overtaken then by number 8, Connor Thompson. Now then, going through Surtees, the bottom of your screen, we just saw a quick glimpse of him, was your race leader in the Super Teams, Jack Scott, from then Max Lofthouse, and this is in third. The Irish flagged colours on the helmet there for number 66, Rhys Irwin. Then number 8, Connor Thompson, and number 77, Cade Verwey, who are on board with here, and Connor Thompson just went a little wide, so Cade Verwey was able to capitalise. There's then a bit of a gap back to Adi Behal and Lawrence Edgley. Lawrence Edgley, oh, and there's a problem further back here for one of the rookies, and that's Jake Clark, who got off to a really good start earlier on, but unfortunately out of the race. Here is the leader. This is 55, Jack Scott from Luton on the JJ Racing Aprilia. And again there, really tight approach into Druids there for Cade Verwey, number 77. We're on board now with the 125 of Max Lofthouse, the Lofty Racing Aprilia. He is currently in second place, trying to hunt down Jack Scott. The pair of them were racing together last year as well, and now he's got the company, as you can see on circuit, by a couple of the 450Rs. That's Rhys Irwin just up behind him, followed by Cade Verwey, followed by Connor Thompson. Connor Thompson doesn't have to get himself hanging off that 450 bike, whereas at the moment, just slightly tighter lines being shown there by Cade Verwey. Completely different riding styles on the same bike. In the background there, we just quickly saw, as we see a change here going into Paddock Hill Bend, that's Rhys Irwin up the inside of Max Lofthouse for second place. And in the background just a moment ago, we saw Adi Behal, I think it was, fighting with Lawrence Edgley. Now then, into Druids, 4 abreast almost there. Interesting that there is Adi Behal, number 50, lovely move there from the rookie, going up underneath Lawrence Edgley, who's not having it all his own way here, bearing in mind he was racing for victory earlier on. Something's not quite right here in the second race then for Lawrence Edgley. This will be a close one this season in the championship, you fear. Number 7 there's Will Keynes, he's the 450 leader, about to come and lap on these guys. You'll have seen that earlier on, but what a race we've got here between Cade Verwey and Connor Thompson. On board with Cade now, looking back at number 8. Let's see how they get on the brakes into Paddock Hill Bend as they try and hunt down Rhys Irwin. This is Max Lofthouse, number 25, and that up underneath. Oh, dearie me. Well, he wasn't underneath. That's an awful place to go off. Paddock Hill Bend. Well, you'll know about that one, Max. Hopefully he's up and he's okay, and he's even got a chance just to give the tyre wall a bit of a kicking as well. We're on the last lap. Max Lofthouse won't pick up any points. Who will be victorious? It looks like Jack Scott. Jack Scott is to take the 25 points. Massive race going on behind. It looks like this is going to be a corker all season long. The checkered flag went out, and it was Jack Scott that took the 25 points ahead of Irishman Reese Irwin, Cade Verwey in the end. We were on board with him earlier on, managed to hold on to 3rd place ahead of Connor Thompson. Adi Bahal, the rookie, finishing in a solid 5th place, and Lawrence Edgerly taking 6th. There's your top 3 then. Jack Scott the winner from Reese Irwin and Cade Verwey. Now a look at the points. Reese Irwin has it, just not a lot in it. Look at the difference between Lofthouse, Scott and Verwey there. Too early really to look at championship standings for now. We'll see how they get on at Donington Park next time. Join us again after the break for the final part, race 3 for the Thundersport 500s. Race 3 from 3 now for the Crank Racing Thundersport 500s, and with the usual protagonists not in this one, there is an opportunity for a race win for 1 or 2 riders. A thumbs up there from number 5, Matt Ratcliffe. There is number 27, John O'Toole, and Matt Snow as well, number 70. So an opportunity there as we see 54 Lara Small and 117 George Davies for a few new faces on the podium, and they'll all want to be there. The red flag is wheeled away by Dave. Look to the lights in the top right corner, and away we go here for the final Thundersport 500 race. And look at them all singing down towards Paddock Hill Bend. A good start for John O'Toole. He takes the lead there on his red and blue Honda, and it looks like the lime green colours of Matt Snow, number 70, that has hooked himself up into 2nd place as they make their way now into Druids. Good start there for Lara Small as well. She is inside the top 5, and now they make their way down towards Graham Hill Bend. The leaning colours, you can always spot them quite a distance. The blue and luminous yellow, that is actually old man leaning, I suppose. He'll probably kill me for saying that, but it's the father of Josh and Will. Number 11 there is Mark leaning. That's Josh and Will's dad. There is number 149, just going through your picture. Andy Whale, a regular in this paddock since we started. And then number 2, that's Elliot Humphrey. And just going a bit wide there around Clearways, number 41, Craig Cameron. But all of these guys looking to get themselves as near to that podium as possible. John O'Toole, who was regularly fighting inside the top 10 last year for the outright Thundersport 500 Championship. Probably not on his favourite circuit here at Brands Hatch. He tends to perform rather well at the circuits we visit nearer the Midlands. As we just see there, getting very, very close. George Williams there, really tight line into Druids. We look at Elliot Humphrey there again. And there is Matt Snow. In fact, Elliot Humphrey and Matt Snow managed to somehow bump into the pair of them on a flight. Back from World Superbikes earlier on the year, there's a problem there. That's the gear linkage gone for number 158, Nathan Owen, and his race has come to an end, the rider from Newport, and that's some distance now to travel back for him. I was speaking about Elliot Humphrey and Matt Snow on a flight back from a World Superbike event from Jerez last year, and who lines up sitting dead next to me? Matt Snow and Elliot Humphrey from the Thundersport 500 Championship. How's your luck? And, well, they're out there racing at the moment. Matt Snow in a very good position here to take a podium. He's in 2nd at the moment, number 70. John O'Toole leads it. In 3rd there is number 5. That's Matthew Ratcliffe, although it's coming up on my time screens. Him at the moment having a jump start penalty. So whether or not that should be 10-second penalty, I would imagine, for Matt, depending on how much of an advantage he took. But at the moment, he bumps himself down to 4th anyway. Brilliant move there from Lara Small. She was in our first full season last year, and she did things the hard way. She jumped straight on a Ducati. She wasn't scared of anything. She went down in the dirt a few times as well. And Lara Small getting herself up there now into the top 3. John O'Toole it is that leads from Matt Snow. In 3rd there, Lara Small, and then number 5, Matthew Ratcliffe from Shaftesbury and Ratcliffe Racing Honda. This is 54, then Lara Small going up, then Mark leaning. 21 there is James Lee from Stockton on the one-way round racing. That's a tongue twister for me for this season. You'll forgive me for not going through that too many times this year, James. Number 21 he is, just trying to close up on this battle for 3rd, which has changed again now. Matthew Ratcliffe up ahead of Lara Small, and there's another retirement. Number 185, Jamie Hudson from Sheffield is out of the race. Looks like he's parked it up nicely though, so possibly another mechanical. There's Mark leaning up ahead of James Lee, number 11 on 21, and then they're just up ahead of the rookie vest there of 116, George Williams from St Neots. Matt Snow though it is there in 2nd place from Brigg. Druid on the Rat Out Racing Honda, just trying to find a way to close down John O'Toole from Derby on the Campbell's Racing Honda. John, if you haven't been watching much racing over the last season or two, then you won't know that John is in fact the brother-in-law of a certain Leon Haslam. So he's certainly had a few tips here and there off Leon and Ron, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to head your way into stardom. He does things his own way, he puts his own money into this to go racing and enjoys himself in this Thundersport 500 Championship, and at the moment he's home and dry in this third and final race in the 500. The battle for second, though, heats up there. Number 5, Matthew Ratcliffe, going up ahead of Matt Snow. Further back there, number 75, that's Nick Turner from Kettering. Number 51 with the leg out, dangling, Ollie Kelly from Farnborough on the OK Racing Honda. Rossi style then, going around Druids with his leg out. I suppose that could also prevent riders from going past you as well, so it's a neat little tactic. New colour scheme then for John O'Toole for this season. And at the moment, you can see from the clear visor, concentrating on the job ahead. He's up ahead of Matthew Ratcliffe and Matt Snow, number 70. Now, it's just come up on the time screens that not only has Matthew Ratcliffe got a 10-second penalty for that, he's got another penalty for a yellow flag infringement as well, so he's got a 20-second penalty. Fair to say then, unless he knows about it already, which I very much doubt, he will not be on the podium. As we look further back there, that's Dave Bezic, number 20, one of the senior riders, just being overtaken by Elliot Humphrey up the inside. Nice to see Dave out there racing. This is Matthew Ratcliffe in second on circuit, but he won't finish in second. There's Lara Small, late on the brakes and up the inside there of number 21, James Lee. John O'Toole at the moment, number 27 here, the rider from Derby. He'll be looking forward to Donington Park coming up well, I suppose by the time you guys are watching this TV show, it will be this weekend coming. So look out for that. Easter weekend it is for Donington Park, round 2 of the Thundersport Championships. I understand we've got 80 Thundersport 500 riders heading to Donington to get themselves into qualifying. That sounds like carnage. Maybe we should film qualifying and see what happens there. This is the battle further back then between James Lee and Lara Small, which effectively becomes the battle for third place because yes, Matt Snow at the moment would be second because Matthew Ratcliffe there, number 5, would not be classified in the top 3 at the moment as they just put a move on Paul Anion there. Paul Anion, one of the rookies for the 2016 season, like so many others. In the freshmans, there are freshmans out there as well, just in case you're wondering. George Williams is the first of those, ahead of Conor Owen and Craig Cameron. Mark Leaning is the first of the seniors at the moment, ahead of Dave Bezic and Nick Turner. Just in case you're wondering. Further back there then, number 97, that's Lee Howarth from Westbourne, one of our Royal Marine riders. And then you can see number 46, a familiar number there on the side of that 500. That's Chris Satchwell from Harpenden, as they all head across the start-finish line to complete another lap. That's Dave Schofield that's just being lapped there by the race leader, and also Harley Smith going through. Matt Snow still at the moment third on circuit with second overall. Number 4, and that's Lara Small who's gone down into Druids. Oh, poor Lara. She's had a fair share of falls over the last 12 months, but the marshal's running to the scene there. She's up and okay. She was in such a great position there as well, fighting for a potential trophy, but it's not to be. Meanwhile, here you can see John O'Toole just trying to find his way through some traffic. He's gone past there, Dave Schofield. There's Matt Snow, who, no matter what happens ahead of him here, provided he finishes, he will finish this race in second. The last lap flag is out then for John O'Toole to pick up a race win and a winner's trophy. Matt Snow then in second. Matthew Ratcliffe, I think, just roughly looking at the time screens at the moment, with a 20-second penalty, he's going to actually fall outside potentially the top 10 overall. That is a hefty time penalty that he has incurred there. Oh, all sorts going on into Druid's corner here for a drift. And I'm not even going to try and read out all the names as the riders that were going into there, because it was fascinating stuff, and I'm surprised they all stayed upright. This is the man that's going to win it then, John O'Toole. A great start to this race, and he's not really been challenged since. The final race here from Brands Hatch on the 500s goes to John O'Toole, and I'm sure he'll be absolutely over the moon with that. The checkered flag goes out, and in the background there we wait for number 27. There he is. He takes the win here in the third and final Crank Racing Thundersport 500 encounter. Matthew Ratcliffe there goes across the line and celebrates in second, but he won't be celebrating for much longer, I fear, once he's told in Parc Fermé what's just happened to him in terms of penalties. So Matt Snow will take second, and James Lee will take third place overall. George Williams is fourth and leads the freshman list there, and Lee Howarth in fifth place ahead of the first of the Senior Cup riders, Mark Leaning. There's your top three then. Good result there for the race winner John O'Toole ahead of Matt Snow and James Lee. And let's have a look at the championship standings then for the 500s overall. Peter Bardell, not a bad little lead that ahead of Dave Grace going into Donington. The defending champion Barton with a bit of work to do, but I don't think he'll worry about that. Butcher in fourth, Poncia in fifth. And in the seniors, it's Cole Mooney with the advantage ahead of Mark Leaning, Dave Bezic, Nick Turner, Mick Marshall and Dave Moss. Thundersport Freshmans. We look at that just before finishing the show. Anthony Seesman it is with the championship lead early on ahead of Carver, Connor Irwin, Thomas Hudson, Rob Amable and George Davies.
Hi John, well you've won here in the Thundersport 500 Cup, and I know you normally wouldn't be in this particular grid, but you've had a bit of a nightmare weekend, I think.
Yeah, you know, we started off just getting used to the Dunlop tyres really. Which is a bit of a change, so that's played on me a little bit. Then we realised yesterday evening that we had a bent bike, bent swing arm and frame. So we've changed that around, and we managed to get it sorted for this race. And it goes to show that I can run up there with the front lads. So yeah, really happy.
Excellent. You got anybody to thank?
Gary and Tracy at Campbell Cars in Nottingham, Anne and Ron Haslam. Without them, I wouldn't be able to ride, because for the simple fact is I wouldn't know how to ride a bike. The wife, the children, they've been here to support me, and I'm very grateful of that. So yeah, massive thanks to them. Simi Exhaust as well, that jumped on to sponsor us as well for this round and hopefully for the rest of the season. Massive thank you to them.
That's it from round one in 2016. It's goodbye from Brands Hatch and hello very soon to round two at Donington Park. We'll see you there.